Welcome back, students. If I talk about Z advanced level, this part becomes very important because here different location is given for different roots. Now in this part we will learn the skill to solve such kind of questions. So let's begin. So let's move to the next type. Okay. So our next type is when we have both roots less than k. Okay. Now let's see what does it mean. Both roots are less than k. Both roots means that here discriminant would be greater than 0. So let's talk about the figure and the conditions imposed. Now when I will talk about figure, I will be taking two cases. One is a is greater than 0 and another is a less than 0. Now a greater than 0, that means parabola mouth will be upwards. So both roots are less than k. So I will plot k first of all. I can take k anywhere on the number line and I have two roots alpha and beta like this. So my graph will be passing through alpha and beta and they will be less than k. In next case, when a is less than 0, I have two roots alpha and beta which are less than k. So I have a parabola mouth downwards. Okay. Now the first thing that we talk about is discriminant. So discriminant in each of them will be greater than 0 because I am having two roots. Okay. Now we will be talking about minus b upon 2a. Can I talk about minus b upon 2a in this case? Yes. Because both roots are less than k, that automatically means that minus b upon 2a will also be less than k. So minus b upon 2a is less than k and here also minus b upon 2a less than k. Okay. Now what about fk? You can see that in first case fk is greater than 0. In the next case you can see that fk is less than 0. So fk here is greater than 0 and here fk is less than 0. But I want to put all these conditions together. So how I can put it? The first condition is discriminant d is greater than 0. The second condition is on minus b upon 2a. So minus b upon 2a will be less than k. And finally about fk. So when a is greater than 0, fk is greater than 0. When a is less than 0, fk is less than 0. That means their product a into fk will always be greater than 0. So these three conditions together will give me this proper type which is both roots less than k. So let's move ahead. So next we have k lies between the roots. Again between the roots means automatically discriminant d will be greater than 0 because here we will having two roots. Let's talk about figure and conditions imposed. Now when I will be talking about figure, again we will have two cases when a is greater than 0 and a is less than 0. A greater than 0. Let's plot the point alpha and beta, the two roots. Now k is lying between them. So we can have any k in between them and my graph will look like this. Okay. When a is less than 0, in this case my parabola will be mouthed downwards. Let me plot alpha and beta and k anywhere in between them. Okay. Now comes the turn for discriminant minus b upon 2a. So discriminant d will be greater than 0 in both of them. Okay. What about minus b upon 2a? Can I talk about minus b upon 2a in this case? No, because I am not sure about k. K can be anywhere in between alpha and beta, right? So I am not sure whether k will be lying here or here. Okay. So nothing we can say about minus b upon 2a. Let's talk about fk. So fk sign here is negative and here it is positive. Okay. So if we want to put the conditions together, we have discriminant d greater than 0. Now a greater than 0, fk is less than 0, a less than 0, fk greater than 0. So together we can say that a into fk product is always less than 0. So these two conditions will properly give me the type 6 which is k lying between the roots. Now the next case is when exactly one root is lying between a and b. So don't get confused with this a and b. Okay. Here we can also write it as k1 and k2 because a we write it as coefficient of x square. So let's see the figure and the conditions imposed. We will have two cases, a greater than 0 and a less than 0. Okay. Now when a is greater than 0, only one root is lying between k1 and k2. Other root is not lying. So let me first of all plot K1 and K2. Okay. One root is lying, so let me write it as alpha, another root somewhere here, say beta, and I will draw my graph like this. Okay. You will say, ma'am, our graph can look like this also. Yes, definitely. That depends. Okay, that depends. Okay, a less than 0. Again, I will plot first of all K1 and K2. So let me say that this is alpha and this is beta. So graph will look like this, parabola mount downwards. Okay. Now, discriminant D will be greater than 0 in each of them. Minus B upon 2A. Can I talk about minus B upon 2A? Can I compare with K1 and K2? No, because I am not sure. Here minus B upon 2A is this. K1 can lie anywhere in between alpha and beta. Okay. So, nothing about minus B upon 2A. In reference to K1 or K2. Then we have Fk1. So, Fk1 in the first case you can see that f of K1. If this is my graph, this is less than 0. And f of K2 is greater than 0. If I finalize this graph. Okay, here we can see that f of K1 is positive and f of K2 is negative. So f of K1 is greater than 0 and f of K2 is less than 0. So conditions we can put together is first discriminant D is greater than 0. Now in both of them you can see that f of K1 and K2 are opposite sign. So I can put it as f of K1 and f of K2 product will always be less than 0 irrespective of A. Okay. Okay, so let's move to the last case when A and B lies between the roots, and let's see the figure and the conditions imposed. Now let's not get confused. I'll put it as K1 and K2 lying between the roots. Again we will be discussing the two cases A greater than 0 and A less than 0. So A and B are lying between the roots. So let me draw the roots first of all alpha and beta. Let me draw the figure and A and B are lying between them A and B. Okay, or I can write it as K1 or K2. Now when I have A less than 0, again first of all I'll draw my roots alpha and beta. Let me draw my graph and A and B, K1 and K2 are lying between the roots. Okay, so first condition that we put is on A discriminant. So discriminant D will be greater than 0 in both the cases. Minus B upon 2A. Can I talk in reference with K1, K2? No, because K1, K2 can lie anywhere between alpha and beta. So I cannot compare it with minus B upon 2A. Okay, f of K1 and f of K2, yes. Here both of them are negative. So f of K1 is negative, less than 0. F of K2 is also less than 0. Here f of K1 and f of K2 are positive. So f of K1 is greater than 0 and f of K2 is also greater than 0. So conditions finally that we impose is discriminant greater than 0 and f of K1, K2 are of the same sign, so their product will be always greater than 0. These two conditions will finally give me the proper location of roots, proper type when A and B both lie between the roots. Students, so now you can yourself realize the beauty of this topic, location of roots. Now what questions can be framed from this and what variety of questions you can expect in your exams. So for this, just stay tuned with me. Have a nice day. Thank you.